Tracy Mueller, and they're going to go over the speech pilot that we did last school year, and we're kind of starting it again this year too. But they have been kind of on the circuit talking about their pilot. And so we were going to have them just, I know some of you have heard the pilot before as far as what they've been doing, but not everybody, and so we thought we'd include the whole group to here today. So we're going to let Tracy go first and talk about Florida.
I have a brochure of what I'm doing, so I'll pass that around if anybody's interested. As part of the RTI initiative at Petersburg Elementary, we chose to target literacy skills. The importance of phonemic awareness to the transition from emergent to conventional literacy was very important to us. And phonemic awareness has also been shown to be a significant correlate with later reading achievement scores. Rich and varied literacy experiences for children must also accompany the phonemic awareness. Therefore, it seemed natural to involve speech therapy in our RTI process at Petersburg Elementary. I should mention that our building is a pre-K through second grade building. After much research, I did find a research-based program through Super Duper Publications called See It, Hear It, Learn It that provided an appropriate evaluation tool for our target age level. In January of last year, interactive speech and language lessons were initiated in the pre-K classrooms. Speech, sounds, and phonemic awareness lessons were provided to the students for 20 minutes per week by the speech therapist to teach the children to listen for and say the most frequently occurring speech sounds. After intensive speech sound training and auditory bombardment stories, the students worked on learning letters that represented each sound, how to recognize those letters and words, and then how to write them. Lessons were reinforced throughout the week through interactive software that tracked the data and then reinforced the lessons for each sound. Our goals were to improve awareness of speech sounds before introducing the written symbols. We progressed from speech and language to early literacy through participation in rhyming activities. And then we also completed pre, post, and midway reviews to better identify our students that were at potential risk for difficulties. One of the added benefits of this program were that the teachers in the pre-K classrooms and their paraprofessionals learned the precise articulation placements, which then helped promote carryover for our students with weak articulation skills. So that's what happened in Petersburg.
Okay. And I did a pilot last year called the Artic Lab, and it was based on a pilot that was done at a rural school district in Pennsylvania. And so I contacted the two speech therapists in Pennsylvania that were running that pilot, got a lot of information from them. I didn't do my pilot exactly like they did because I thought parts of what they were doing were covered by other programs in our building. So, but what I did do, it's a 3-tiered program, and at tier 1, the speech pathologist just collects names from classroom teachers of students that they're concerned about in terms of not saying one sound or another right. And so at tier 1, students with 1 or 2 errors are given a home and a classroom folder that has work in it for them to practice. The home folder goes home with instructions on how to say the sounds and how many minutes a day they need to practice. And then the same information is available to the teacher, and the parents and teachers combination, they try to practice 5 to 7 minutes a day on the error sound. Then every 9 weeks, I go back and rescreen the kids that are at tier 1. They're not getting any direct services. I just check on them every 9 weeks. Students that are making progress, the work is changed in their home and their classroom folder. Those that have met their goals are removed from the Artic Lab. Students making progress with just the home and school folders, they can stay at tier 1 for up to 12 months. So that's where tier 1 ends. And then at tier 2 is for kids who either are not making progress at tier 1, or when I go in and listen to them, based on their age. Like if I go in and listen to a third grader who really has no art and is really not even stimulable for it, then I sometimes skip tier 1 and just go straight to tier 2 because they need more than a home or a classroom folder. I just have a feel for kids when I'm more concerned versus kids where I know they're going to get it. So at tier 2, that's when I start pushing into the classroom. I work out of time with the teacher, and I go into the classroom 15 minutes a week. Tier 1 information remains the same. They still have a home folder. They still have a classroom folder. So everything that was happening at tier 1 still happens at tier 2. It's just they're getting the extra 15 minutes a week in the classroom with me. The students that I'm pushing into the classroom, I track their progress every week. When they've met their goals, they're either removed from the ARTIC lab or they're moved on to tier 3. And again, just like tier 1, kids can stay at tier 2 for up to 12 months as long as they're making progress. And then tier 3 of the ARTIC lab is for kids that have 2 or 3 errors where intelligibility is impacted. Some kids start directly at tier 3, other kids move into tier 3 because we weren't getting there with tier 1 or tier 2. At tier 3, 45 minutes a week of pull-out speech therapy is provided outside the classroom. Like I said, it's for students with 2 or 3 errors that have an impact on intelligibility. Parent consent is obtained. I get written consent to pull them out of the classroom because I can't take them out of the classroom without the parents knowing about it. That has to be okay with them. These students can be seen in groups with students that have IEPs. When I pull them out of the classroom, I pull them out 45 minutes a week for 4 weeks. And I'm tracking progress on how they're doing during those 4 weeks. Once they've been in direct services for 4 weeks, then they go back into their classroom for 4 weeks. And when they go back into their classroom, they're back to just the 5 to 7 minutes a day with the teacher and with their parents. And at that point, the teacher tracks the progress for 4 weeks. Then after those 4 weeks end, I go back into the classroom and listen to how they sound. And at that point, I either spend the next 4 weeks pulling them out, or I say, we've made enough progress now that we can go back to tier 2 or back to tier 1. So it's a rocking schedule. We go direct, indirect, direct, indirect. That delivery model is called an intensive blocked service delivery model. And kids at tier 3 can remain at tier 3 for up to 12 months. So that's the gist of the pilot that I did. And I passed around also to each of you all of the forms that I created. The first is a tracking sheet. I just used this. I put the teacher's name at the top and the school year, and I have one for each teacher in the building. We have pre-K through 4 at Farmingdale. So I just write down the kids in each classroom that I'm following. The next is, it's just a letter letting the parents know. It comes with their first home folder. It lets them know your child's been screened, we need to work on whatever sound it is. And then there's an instruction page for each sound. There's an additional instruction page for R, because that one's the hardest. They need a little bit more help on that one. The next one is a progress report for the parents. The next one is, it's a different progress report. It's a progress report for the parents at tier 2 when I'm pushing into the classroom. And the next form is the permission slip to pull them out of the classroom. And the last one is a progress report for tier 3, kids that I'm pulling out of the classroom. So that's it.
Okay, thank you.